Hi, have you ever felt like you didn't matter or your points of view didn't matter in situations? How about in the job industry? Have you ever felt your managers or supervisors never value your opinions or acknowledge your thoughts or ideas? When people ask me what I do for a living, I say I'm a nurse, which is true, but I tend to hide the fact that I'm an LPN. And some people will go as far as asking me, am I an LPN or an RN? In the back of my mind, I'm like, does it matter? Well, according to the APA, which is the American Psychology Association, people of higher class tend to have the belief that they are more adept than people that are capable but in the lower class, which in return, this can be misinterpreted by others as greater competence in important situations. Now, I don't want you to go to work tomorrow and beat up your supervisor, okay? I want you to know that you matter, okay? Now, I appreciate my superiors. I respect my superiors by all means. This is not what this is about. I really want you guys to understand that your job matters. Your job title is an important role. For instance, if you are a waitress, right? You make the first impression. So your customers see you first. And you know what they say about first impressions. First impressions are everything. If you're a cashier, you make the last impression. So if customers come in your store and they might have had a horrible experience with other employees or other customers, by the time they get to you, you have the last impression. So it's important that you make the last impression great. So that will maybe say, the customer might say, hey, I want to come back to the store because of that cashier. If you're a student, you actually are taking a step forward to further your career. You also are important because you can help tutor other students or peers in your class, helping them in situations or in subjects where they tend to have problems in, or vice versa. If you are a professor, you have an important role, right? Because you want your students to succeed. And also, sometimes professors can even mentor their students. I want to share a story with you today. The day that I realized I wasn't just an LPN. Now, this was about a year ago, and it was a patient that I had, and we're going to call her Mrs. Jones. Now, I walk past Mrs. Jones' room, and I see Mrs. Jones is in respiratory distress. When I go in there, I'm asking her questions. She's so antsy and she's all over the place. She can't sit down, can't stay still, and she's breathing fast and she's breathing and she's like, I can't breathe. And I'm trying to tell her to breathe in and breathe out just to help her to relax. And she's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just can't breathe. So I said, okay, Mrs. Jones, I have to go. I have to call 911 so we can get you some help. And as I got off of Mrs. Jones' bed, she grabbed my arm and said, don't leave me. And I said, Mrs. Jones, I have to call 911. She's like, no, don't leave me. So me being frantic, but I'm trying to stay calm, I yell out of the room for help. And who comes in to my rescue? My CNA, which is a nursing assistant. And I value my CNAs. I value my nursing assistants. They are our eyes and our ears. They are with the patients more than we are with the patients. So she goes and she go get assistance to be able to get 911 to my facility. So 10 seconds after that, Mrs. Jones go flaccid on the bed. And I'm like, Mrs. Jones, no respirations, no pulse. And I start immediately CPR. And for those of you who don't know, CPR is very strenuous exercise. It is an exercise. And it's very important, but it's an exercise. And it can be tiring. And as I'm pumping her chest, another CNA come in. And she sees that I'm tired. She says, Shannon, do you want me to help? And I say, yes, come on in, because I'm tired. So she jumps on, and she keeps going. She keeps pushing, pressing. And to make a long story short, the paramedics came. Mrs. Jones had a heartbeat. They took her to the hospital. Unfortunately, Mrs. Jones did die that night. So I wanted to reach out to the daughter just to let her know she wasn't alone. Something on my heart made me want to do that. So when I called the daughter and I let her know your mom wasn't alone, she cried, said thank you so much for that. Because all I could think about was my mom alone? Was she dead and somebody found her that way? And I said, no, your mom was not alone. I was with her the whole time. She said, thank you so much. And it brought her the greatest satisfaction in the sad time. So at that moment is when I realized I wasn't just a LPN. I was a LPN. So I want to encourage you guys to not fall victim to social status. Everyone has a purpose to fulfill. Without sanitation workers, our garbage will not get picked up. And I don't know about you, I don't want to pick up any garbage. So I appreciate our sanitation workers. So remember, you're not just a cashier. You're not just a waitress. You're not just a CNA. You're not just a student. You're not just a professor. Acknowledge and own who you are. I am Shannon, and I am an LPN. Thank you.